Flirting tactics that drive men wild. 7 effective tips for women's Stoic life lessons. Stoicism. Why do some women naturally attract men without effort, while others seem to go unnoticed? Flirting isn't about playing games or manipulation, it's about confidence, presence, and understanding the subtle psychology of attraction. It's a skill that transcends age and beauty, grounded in self-awareness and the way you carry yourself. Today, we're unveiling 7 powerful flirting tactics that captivate men effortlessly. Not gimmicks, but strategies rooted in authenticity, psychology, and Stoic wisdom. And stay until the end. There's a bonus tip that will completely change the way you approach attraction. If you're ready to tap into your natural magnetism and elevate your presence, let's dive in. Number 1. Flirting is for every woman. Flirting is not reserved for the young, the bold, or the effortlessly charming. It is for every woman, at any stage of life, because at its core, flirting is not about looks or age, but about the way you make someone feel. Yet many women over 55 hold themselves back with limiting beliefs. I am too old for this. Men don't notice me anymore. Or even, what if I embarrass myself? These doubts stem not from reality but from societal conditioning that wrongly equates desirability with youth. The truth is, attraction has little to do with physical perfection and everything to do with presence, confidence, and the ability to create an emotional connection. Seneca wisely said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality," and nowhere is this more evident than in the fears that prevent women from embracing their natural allure. Society often sends the message that after a certain age, women become invisible, but this is far from the truth. Look at the women who command attention effortlessly. They do so not because they fit a narrow definition of beauty, but because they exude a quiet self-assurance, a playfulness in their interactions, and an energy that draws people in. Attraction is a language, and it is spoken through the way you carry yourself, the warmth of your smile, and the way you engage in conversation. If you believe that men no longer notice you, it may be time to ask yourself, are you still open to being noticed? Often, the fear of being overlooked causes women to retreat inward, to shrink their presence, and to unconsciously send signals of disinterest. But when you carry yourself with the certainty that you are worthy of attention, the world responds accordingly. Flirting, at its essence, is a dance of connection. It is not about manipulation or playing games. Rather, it is about showing up as the best, most vibrant version of yourself. It is a moment of shared energy, of teasing, of lightheartedness that makes someone feel good in your presence. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And the same is true for attraction. If you approach interactions with a sense of fun and curiosity rather than doubt and self-consciousness, you become instantly magnetic. A well-timed joke, a subtle touch on the arm, or a lingering glance can be far more powerful than any youthful feature. These are the qualities that make a woman unforgettable. Modern life has made connection more complex yet more accessible than ever. With the rise of digital interactions, many women feel uncertain about where and how to engage, but the fundamental rules have not changed. Men are drawn to women who carry themselves with a sense of self-worth and who bring warmth to their conversations. A woman who is comfortable in her own skin, who laughs freely, and who shows genuine interest in the person she is speaking to, is more attractive than any passing trend of youthfulness. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And in the realm of attraction, This could not be more true when you own who you are. Unapologetically, you give others permission to be drawn to you. If you find yourself hesitant, remind yourself that flirting is simply about connection. It is about being present in the moment, about sharing a spark, and about allowing yourself to be seen. The best part: you do not need to change who you are, you only need to embrace yourself fully. Confidence is not about perfection, it is about self-acceptance, and when you carry that with you, you will see that men respond in ways you never expected. The art of attraction is timeless, and so are you. Number 2, the power of presence. Flirting isn't about flashy outfits or an exaggerated performance. It's about presence, the energy you bring into a room, and how you make others feel when they're around you. The moment a man notices you isn't when you're trying too hard, it's when you're at ease, when your natural warmth shines through, and when your playful energy invites curiosity. Think about a time when you were completely lost in conversation, laughing without restraint, fully engaged in the moment. Weren't you magnetic? It's not about the way you look, it's about the way you make people feel. Men, like anyone else, are drawn to authenticity, to a woman who exudes confidence effortlessly, to the way her eyes light up when she speaks with passion, and to the kind of presence that makes them feel comfortable and intrigued at the same time. The Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This wisdom applies to attraction as well. It's not about putting on a show or seeking external validation. It's about carrying yourself with the kind of ease that comes from within, from self-assurance, from knowing that you are enough just as you are. When you step into a space, your presence precedes your words, and people, whether consciously or unconsciously, pick up on the way you carry yourself. A warm smile has the power to open doors before you even speak. A confident posture, standing tall with ease rather than stiffness, signals that you are comfortable in your own skin. And your energy, whether light-hearted and playful or calm and collected, sets the tone for how people respond to you. There is an undeniable power in being fully present, in showing up without distractions, in giving your attention fully to the person in front of you. In today's world of constant digital interruptions, eye contact alone has become a rare and valuable currency. Looking at someone with genuine interest, rather than glancing at your phone or scanning the room, makes them feel seen, and that feeling of being truly seen is what draws people in. Seneca reminds us, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. And in the context of attraction, kindness begins with attentiveness, with the small gestures that make someone feel valued and important. That moment of silent connection, even if brief, has the power to create intrigue. Men, like women, are deeply attuned to energy, and the way you engage with them sends subtle yet powerful signals. There's a story of a woman in her 60s who had always believed she had faded into the background, that younger women commanded all the attention. But one evening at a dinner party, she let go of those limiting beliefs, focused on simply enjoying herself, and embraced the presence she had to offer. She listened with curiosity, shared her thoughts with warmth, and allowed herself to be fully engaged in conversations without overthinking how she was being perceived. By the end of the night, several men had gravitated toward her, drawn to her ease and natural charisma. It wasn't about youth, it was about her presence. What if the way you carried yourself changed the way people responded to you? What if, instead of assuming you were invisible, you acted as if your presence alone was enough? Flirting should feel natural, not forced, because at its core, it's simply about playfulness, curiosity, and a willingness to connect. Too often, women overthink it, worrying about saying the right thing or making the perfect impression. But attraction isn't a calculated strategy. It's a moment-to-moment exchange of energy. The Stoic mindset teaches us to focus on what is within our control, and in the realm of attraction, what is within your control is your presence, your attitude, and your openness to connection. When you approach interactions with a sense of lightness rather than self-doubt, when you engage in conversation with genuine interest rather than trying to impress, you become effortlessly captivating. The beauty of presence is that it is not reserved for any particular type of woman. It is available to all who choose to cultivate it. Whether you are 40, 50, or 70, the ability to create intrigue and attraction is not lost with age. It is enhanced by experience, by the confidence that comes from knowing yourself, and by the ability to engage deeply rather than superficially. The modern world may try to convince you that attraction is about surface-level qualities, but the reality is that men, especially mature men, are drawn to something far deeper. A woman who knows her worth without seeking validation, who carries herself with grace and ease, and who brings joy into her interactions, will always be the one who stands out. Presence is your superpower. It's not about trying harder. It's about being more present in your interactions. It's about making people feel good in your presence because you are genuinely engaged, unbothered by self-doubt, and open to connection. The next time you walk into a room, remind yourself that you belong there. The next time you engage in conversation, remind yourself that you have something valuable to offer. And the next time you catch yourself overthinking attraction, shift your focus from how you are being perceived to how you are making others feel. Stoic happiness isn't about external approval, it's about the inner peace that comes from knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are. In the world of attraction, confidence, ease, and authenticity will always be more powerful than youth or beauty. So go forward with the knowledge that presence, more than anything, is what makes you unforgettable. Number 3. 7 effective flirting tactics. 1. The power of eye contact. Flirting isn't about tricks or games. It's about creating a natural connection, a spark that draws two people together effortlessly. And few things are as powerful as eye contact. The way you look at someone can send a message stronger than words, a message of confidence, intrigue, and warmth. Have you ever been in a room full of people and suddenly felt the intensity of someone's gaze on you? That moment of locked eyes, even if brief, can ignite something deep within. A curiosity, a sense of magnetism that pulls two people toward each other. The Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." And this applies to attraction as well. It's not about what you say or do, as much as how you make someone feel. And eye contact is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to create that emotional impact. High-value men, the kind who exude confidence and presence, are drawn to women who carry the same level of self-assuredness. And nothing communicates that more clearly than the way you hold his gaze. When used intentionally, eye contact creates instant chemistry and intrigue. It's the silent invitation that says, "I see you," and more importantly, "I want you to see me." A man's attention is naturally drawn to a woman who engages him visually because it signals confidence, presence, and a sense of playfulness. But it's not just about staring, it's about how you do it. A lingering gaze that lasts just 2 or 3 seconds longer than usual can make all the difference, allowing the tension to build without words. If you want to enhance this moment, add a brief glance away. Look down at your drink, brush your fingers across your hair, or glance at something nearby. Then, slowly bring your eyes back to him, this time with a soft, subtle smile. That small moment of engagement tells him that you are interested, yet confident enough not to overdo it. It leaves just enough space for curiosity, for him to wonder what's on your mind, for him to be intrigued by the way you carry yourself. A particularly effective technique is what we call the slow glance. Instead of an immediate, direct look, start by noticing him from the corner of your eye. Then, as if you're taking your time, slowly turn your head toward him, allowing your gaze to meet his for a second before looking away. The key here is to break the gaze first, before he does. Why? Because it builds tension. It leaves him wanting more. This move has been used by some of the most naturally captivating women throughout history, and it works because it plays on psychology. When you control the moment of eye contact, you control the dynamic. It signals that you are aware of your own allure and are comfortable enough to use it playfully. But let's take this beyond technique. Why does this matter? In a world where people are constantly distracted, looking down at their phones, scrolling through social media, or avoiding real human connection, eye contact has become rare. That's why it's so powerful. In a society that moves at lightning speed, where interactions are fleeting and shallow, locking eyes with someone, even for a few seconds, can feel like a moment of true connection. Have you ever met someone who made you feel like you were the only person in the room just by the way they looked at you? That's the power of presence, and it's what sets apart those who are magnetic from those who blend into the background. Many women, especially those who may feel out of practice, underestimate just how impactful this simple action can be. Stoic teaches us that attraction is about self-mastery first, about owning who you are and letting that confidence speak before you even say a word. This is why high-value men, the kind who are confident and self-assured, are naturally drawn to women who can meet their gaze without nervousness, without shrinking away, but instead with the ease of someone who knows her worth. Now, let's bring this into a real-life scenario. Picture yourself at a cafe, sitting at a table with a book or a cup of coffee. Across the room, you notice someone intriguing, someone who carries himself with quiet confidence. Instead of immediately looking away or burying your head in your phone, you take a moment to hold his gaze. You don't rush it, you don't overthink it, you simply allow that second or two of connection to happen. Maybe he smiles, maybe he nods slightly in acknowledgement, or maybe he does nothing at all at first, but that moment has planted a seed, an invitation to something more. The next time your eyes meet, there's an unspoken understanding, an opening for conversation, without a single word exchanged. Attraction doesn't start with what you say, it starts with what you project. It starts with being comfortable enough in your own skin to hold someone's attention without trying too hard. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This means the way you think about yourself, the way you carry yourself, will be reflected in how others perceive you. If you walk into a room feeling invisible, you will become invisible. But if you move through the world with quiet confidence, knowing that your presence alone is enough to command attention, people will respond accordingly. The beauty of eye contact is that it's available to every woman at any age, in any setting. It requires no words, no overcomplicated strategies, just the willingness to be present in the moment, to engage without fear, and to embrace the connection that naturally follows. It is a tool of confidence, a silent yet powerful way of saying, "I am here and I am worth noticing." The next time you find yourself in a situation where attraction is possible, challenge yourself to use this. Hold his gaze just a second longer. Play with a slow glance. Notice how people respond when you engage rather than retreat. Because when you master the art of eye contact, you are not just flirting, you are communicating self-assurance, depth, and an understanding of the kind of woman you are becoming. If you're still here, you're already ahead of the game. Let me know in the comments, what's the one flirting tactic you're excited to try? Type magnetic energy if you're ready to own your presence and attract effortlessly. More powerful insights coming soon. Stay tuned. 2. The power of subtle touch. Flirting, when done right, is not about grand gestures or excessive effort. It is about the subtle, natural interactions that create a sense of intimacy without forcing it. And one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked, elements of attraction is touch. The way you engage in physical contact, even in the smallest ways, can send signals of warmth, connection, and chemistry that words alone cannot convey. Science backs this up. Touch releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, which deepens trust and attraction between two people. It is the same biological mechanism that strengthens relationships between parents and children, friends, and of course romantic partners. High-value men, those who carry themselves with confidence and emotional depth, respond strongly to a woman who knows how to use touch effortlessly, in a way that feels natural rather than forced. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "We should every night call ourselves to an account. What infirmity have I mastered today? What passions opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired?" And in the world of attraction, self-awareness is key. The ability to understand when and how to engage in touch is not just about reading signals from a man. It's about mastering the art of presence, confidence, and self-control, which are all fundamental lessons in Stoic life. Lessons. And what is Stoicism teaches about personal strength and awareness? The effectiveness of subtle touch lies in its ability to create micro moments of connection without overwhelming the other person. A light tap on his arm or shoulder when laughing at a joke is a perfect way to create that spark, as it feels completely uncalculated and genuine. A gentle brush of your fingers against his hand while reaching for something nearby can send an almost electric sensation through his body, triggering an unspoken sense of closeness. A playful nudge on the arm during a teasing exchange, or a quick appreciative touch on his shoulder if he says something sweet, can instantly shift the energy between you, signaling that you are comfortable, open, and engaged in the interaction. These touches, when done right, have a profound impact because they engage the senses on a deeper level, making the moment more memorable and fueling attraction without the need for elaborate conversation. But the key here is subtlety. Touch should be natural, not staged. Many women worry about whether a man will misinterpret their touch or whether it will feel too forward. But the reality is that high-value men respond to women who are in control of their energy. The Stoics believed in moderation and self-mastery, and this applies even in social dynamics. When touch is given without expectation, without neediness, but rather as an effortless extension of joy and connection, it has the greatest impact. However, it's equally important to understand what not to do when using touch to build attraction. Gripping, holding too long, or being overly aggressive can quickly shift the dynamic from intriguing to uncomfortable. If touch feels forced or unnatural, it can create tension rather than chemistry, which is why the best moments of physical contact often happen instinctively. A woman who understands how to engage in subtle touch knows that less is often more. Just as a skilled conversationalist knows when to pause, listen, and let silence work in her favor, the same principle applies here. The goal is to create a sense of ease, to make the moment feel effortless rather than overthought. This philosophy can be applied to attraction. Rather than overanalyzing how or when to touch, simply embody the energy of a woman who is confident in her interactions. When you relax and allow yourself to be fully present, the right moments to engage in subtle touch will arise naturally, without calculation. Now, let's bring this into real life. Think about a time when you were laughing with someone and, without thinking, lightly touched their arm. It probably felt completely natural, as if the moment itself called for it. That's because genuine laughter and enjoyment create an environment where touch is instinctive rather than deliberate. When a woman laughs at a man's joke and instinctively places her hand on his arm for a brief second before pulling away, it triggers chemistry at a subconscious level. This small gesture signals warmth, appreciation, and playfulness, which high-value men recognize and respond to. In a world where digital interactions have replaced much of human connection, the ability to engage in real, physical presence is more powerful than ever. The beauty of touch is that it requires no words, no rehearsed lines, and no elaborate strategies. It is a universal language of connection that, when used well, makes interactions feel effortless and engaging. And for men between 40 and 70, who have often seen it all when it comes to dating and relationships, authenticity is what stands out the most. A woman who is in tune with her own confidence, who knows how to engage through both conversation and subtle physical gestures, is one who remains unforgettable. If you take anything away from this, let it be this: flirting is not about chasing or proving your worth. It is about being present in a way that makes others feel drawn to you. Just as the Stoics teach that happiness is found in inner mastery rather than external validation, attraction works the same way. It is not about seeking attention, but rather about carrying yourself in a way that naturally invites connection. 3. The art of keeping a little mystery. High-value men, those who are confident, accomplished, and self-assured, are not drawn to the woman who lays everything on the table within minutes of meeting. They are captivated by a woman who understands the power of subtlety, the intrigue of the unspoken, and the confidence of not needing to explain herself. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Silence is safer than speech." And when it comes to attraction, this wisdom holds true. Mystery works because it taps into the fundamental human desire to discover, to chase, and to understand. When you reveal everything too soon, you take away the most exciting part of attraction, the process of uncovering who you are, piece by piece, over time. Have you ever noticed that the most compelling people you've met were not necessarily the loudest or the most open, but the ones who carried an undeniable presence, who revealed just enough to spark interest, but never too much to remove the thrill of getting to know them? The reason mystery is so powerful is that it creates anticipation. When a man doesn't immediately have all the answers about you, his mind stays engaged, wondering, who is she? What's on her mind? That sense of curiosity fuels attraction, far more than over-explaining or constantly seeking validation. True confidence is knowing that you don't have to prove anything. You allow people to earn the privilege of knowing you, rather than handing over every detail of your life in the first conversation. A woman who understands this doesn't feel the need to instantly text back, doesn't rush to fill silences, and doesn't feel the urge to explain every choice she makes. She lives her life fully and unapologetically, which naturally makes a man want to be a part of it. The Stoics believed in self-mastery, in controlling what is within your power and letting go of the need to seek approval from others. When you hold back just enough, you show that you are whole on your own, that your life is rich and fulfilling whether or not someone else is watching. This is what truly attracts high-value men, women who are secure in themselves and who don't need to put on a show or overshare for attention. So how do you cultivate mystery without playing games? It's not about manipulation, it's about owning your space, being comfortable with pauses, and letting a man wonder just a little. The simplest way to do this? Don't reveal everything at once. Let him ask. Let him earn the deeper layers of who you are. If you tell your entire life story within the first hour of conversation, what's left for him to discover? Hold some details back, not because you're hiding, but because you value meaningful connections over mindless oversharing. Another powerful way to create intrigue? Be unpredictable. You don't need to respond instantly to every text or always be available the moment he reaches out. A woman with a full, dynamic life is naturally harder to pin down, not because she's playing hard to get, but because she genuinely has things going on. This unpredictability keeps a man engaged, keeps him excited, and keeps him wondering about you in the best possible way. And then there's the subtle art of dropping hints without explaining everything. If you mention an amazing trip you took, don't immediately give all the details. Leave room for him to ask. If you say, "I had the most incredible experience last weekend," let the pause linger. Let him lean in and show curiosity rather than handing over the full story without prompting. It's the pull, not the push, that creates attraction. In modern dating, where everything is about instant gratification, being a woman who holds back just enough to keep things interesting sets you apart. It tells a man that you value your own time, that you don't need external validation, and that you live by your own rhythm, not someone else's expectations. Win Stoic teaches us that true confidence is about not chasing, about understanding that your energy alone is enough to captivate the right person. High-value men are not interested in women who seek attention. They are drawn to women who naturally command it by being comfortable with themselves. 4. The power of a well-timed compliment. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to do this is through a well-timed compliment. Compliments have a unique power, especially when given to men, because, believe it or not, men rarely receive genuine praise. In a world where women are more accustomed to receiving compliments about their appearance, men often go through life without hearing affirmations about who they are, what they do, or what makes them special beyond the surface. This is why, when a woman delivers a sincere compliment, it holds weight. It lingers in a man's mind long after the conversation ends, creating an emotional attraction that goes deeper than looks. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, often spoke about the importance of character over external validation. The key to a powerful compliment is to focus on something beyond the superficial. Sure, a compliment about his looks might make him smile, but the ones that truly stick are those that highlight his intelligence, personality, humor, or passion. High-value men, those who are secure in themselves and looking for a meaningful connection, respond most strongly to compliments that acknowledge their deeper qualities. Telling a man, "I love the way you explain things," not only validates his intelligence, but makes him feel appreciated for how he communicates. Noting you have such a calming presence makes him feel valued for his emotional stability, something men are rarely praised for. Humor is another powerful trait. "You always know how to make me laugh." taps into his ability to bring joy, while acknowledging his passion with something as simple as, "It's amazing how dedicated you are to your work," reinforces his sense of purpose and drive. The common thread? These compliments make him feel like who he is matters, not just how he looks. In the philosophy of Stoicism today, self-worth is built from within, but acknowledgement from others can reinforce that inner confidence. The difference between an average interaction and one that leaves a lasting impact is the way you make someone feel about themselves, and a thoughtful compliment does exactly that. But a compliment is only as powerful as the way it is delivered. The secret lies in making it feel effortless yet intentional. Eye contact is crucial. It transforms words from casual remarks into something personal, something real. Keeping it short and simple is just as important. A compliment should never feel like an explanation or an attempt to win favor. A confident woman understands that she doesn't need to justify her words. She lets them stand on their own. And most importantly, she allows the moment to breathe. A well-timed compliment is not about rushing to fill silence. It is about letting her words sink in, letting him feel them fully before moving on. There is an undeniable power in pausing after a compliment, allowing the weight of it to settle in the space between two people. A woman who understands this technique commands attention not by demanding it, but by making the man in front of her feel worthy of admiration. Think about the last time someone genuinely complimented you. One that wasn't generic or obligatory, but one that made you stop for a moment and truly feel appreciated. Maybe it was the way they looked at you when they said it, or the sincerity in their voice that made it impossible to brush off. That is the kind of compliment that stays with a person, not because it feeds their ego, but because it affirms something real about them. The beauty of this tactic is that it doesn't require charm, wit, or flirtation in the traditional sense. It simply requires attentiveness. It requires being present enough in the conversation to notice what makes the other person light up, and having the confidence to acknowledge it without hesitation. Stoic happiness isn't about seeking approval from others, but about fostering connections that are built on authenticity and mutual respect. A well-placed compliment is a tool for connection, not manipulation, and when used with the right energy, it shifts the dynamic in a way that leaves a lasting impression. 5. The power of your voice. A soft, slow, and slightly lower voice naturally creates intimacy, drawing a man into the conversation in a way that makes him feel connected and engaged. High-value men, the kind who are confident and composed, are naturally drawn to women who speak with intentionality, who understand that how you say something matters just as much as what you say. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Nature hath given men one tongue but 2 ears, that we may hear from others twice as much as we speak." This wisdom reminds us that real connection is not found in constant chatter, but in the art of communication, the pauses, the warmth, the depth of presence we bring into an interaction. In a world where people rush through conversations and distractions are everywhere, a woman who slows down, who speaks with intention, and who makes every word feel meaningful stands out effortlessly. A well-modulated, calm voice signals confidence, self-assurance, and femininity. 3 qualities that create immediate attraction without trying too hard. When you speak too quickly or with a high-pitched, nervous tone, it can give off an energy of insecurity or even desperation. But when you slow down, when you let your words land with a sense of certainty, you create intrigue, drawing a man in with a voice that lingers in his mind long after the conversation ends. The power of your voice in attraction lies in its ability to create an emotional atmosphere. A warm tone makes a man feel at ease, inviting him to lower his guard and engage with you in a way that feels natural and comfortable. This is why women who master their vocal presence never struggle to hold attention, because they know that feeling is more powerful than information. When your voice carries a sense of calm, it tells a man that you are confident in yourself, that you don't feel the need to rush or over-explain, and that you are fully present in the moment. That is the effect of a voice that carries warmth and control, and that is what separates a forgettable interaction from one that lingers in the mind. The Stoic life lessons teach us that true power comes not from trying to control others, but from mastering ourselves. When you master the way you speak, you command attention effortlessly, not by being louder or faster, but by being more intentional, more present, and more attuned to the energy you are creating with your voice. So, how do you use your voice to flirt in a way that feels effortless yet deeply effective? Start by slowing down. Rushing through sentences not only makes it harder for someone to connect with you, but it also makes your words feel less meaningful. When you take your time, you create a sense of intimacy, making the person listening feel like they are the only one in the room. The power of slowing down is something high-value men understand well. They don't rush their movements, their decisions, or their words, and they are naturally drawn to women who mirror that same sense of control. Another technique that enhances attraction is the use of pauses. Pausing before responding to a question or after making a statement adds a sense of mystery and intrigue. It allows your words to settle rather than being lost in a fast-paced exchange. Lowering your tone slightly is another way to create attraction, as it adds a natural sense of intimacy and femininity. A voice that is too high-pitched can come across as anxious or overly excitable, while a voice with a slightly deeper, relaxed quality conveys confidence and sensuality. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to sound unnatural. It means tuning in to the most calm, grounded version of your voice and allowing that to come through. When you combine this with a natural, genuine laugh, you create a dynamic range in your vocal expression that keeps a man engaged. There is something incredibly magnetic about a woman who knows when to be soft, when to be playful, and when to let silence do the talking. Stoicism today teaches us that wisdom is found in restraint, in knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to express and when to hold back. In the context of attraction, this translates to the ability to read the energy of a conversation and use your voice accordingly, rather than feeling the need to fill every moment with words. Think about a time when someone's voice alone made you feel something, whether it was comfort, intrigue, or excitement. Have you ever been drawn to a person because of the way they spoke, the way their words carried a certain presence that made you want to keep listening? Now, ask yourself, how do you think your own voice makes people feel? Do you rush through conversations, or do you take your time, allowing space for connection to build? The way you use your voice says so much about you before a man even has a chance to know you deeply. If you speak with a warm, confident, and slightly slowed-down tone, you automatically create a sense of connection that words alone could never achieve. This is not about changing who you are. It's about refining how you show up, about embracing the natural power that comes with being fully present in the way you communicate. So, the next time you are having a conversation with a man, pay attention to not just what you say, but how you say it. Slow down, use pauses, allow your voice to have a range of warmth and playfulness, and notice how the energy of the interaction shifts. Notice how a well-timed pause makes him lean in just a little more, how a slightly lower tone creates an atmosphere of closeness, and how a natural, effortless laugh makes the moment feel light and enjoyable. 6. Confidence, the ultimate flirting tool. Confidence is the single most attractive quality you can bring into any interaction, and when it comes to flirting, it's the difference between being magnetic and being forgettable. I value men, the ones who are secure in themselves, successful in their pursuits, and intentional in their relationships, are not drawn to desperation or neediness. They are drawn to a woman who is comfortable in her own skin, who radiates a natural sense of self-worth without needing constant validation. Confidence is not about arrogance or being the loudest person in the room. It's about carrying yourself in a way that signals you know your value without having to prove it. Stoic happiness is built on the foundation of internal mastery, and true confidence comes from within, not from external validation. The reason confidence is so attractive is that it makes the people around you feel comfortable. When a man senses that you are at ease with yourself, that you are not overanalyzing your every move or seeking his approval, he feels more drawn to you because your energy is light, engaging and free of pressure. People are naturally attracted to those who enjoy their own presence because it gives them permission to relax and enjoy the moment as well. Confidence in flirting is not about forcing an impression, but about being fully present in the moment. A confident woman does not try too hard to impress because she understands that attraction is not about chasing but about drawing in. She doesn't overthink her words or worry about saying the perfect thing. She speaks naturally, without filtering herself to fit what she thinks a man wants to hear. I value men respect women who speak with authenticity, who express themselves without hesitation, and who are not afraid to show personality. This doesn't mean talking excessively or dominating the conversation. It means owning your voice, saying what you mean, and not second-guessing yourself after every word. In the philosophy of Stoicism today, the ability to control your internal state, regardless of external circumstances, is a sign of true strength. A woman who flirts with confidence does not rely on tricks or tactics. She simply trusts herself, and that alone makes her stand out. One of the simplest ways to project confidence is through body language. Walk with purpose, stand tall, move smoothly, and carry yourself with a sense of presence. When you enter a room, don't shrink yourself or try to go unnoticed. Instead, embrace the space you take up. Have you ever seen a woman who seems to command attention without saying a word? That's the power of confident body language. When you move with ease, you create an energy that naturally draws people in. Another key to effortless confidence is a genuine smile. A smile that lights up your whole face, that reaches your eyes, is one of the most inviting things you can offer in an interaction. It signals warmth, playfulness, and approachability, which makes a man want to engage with you. But here's the thing: your smile has to be real. A forced or overly rehearsed smile can be spotted from a mile away, whereas a natural, relaxed expression makes you seem comfortable and engaged. This ties into another element of confidence: eye contact. When you maintain eye contact with a relaxed expression, you signal that you are fully present, that you are listening, and that you are not intimidated by the moment. It creates a sense of intimacy and intrigue, which deepens attraction naturally. Many women, especially those who overthink flirting, tend to look away too soon or fidget when making eye contact. But a woman who holds a gaze with quiet confidence creates an instant sense of connection. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This applies directly to confidence in flirting. The power is not in trying to control how someone reacts to you, but in controlling your own presence, your own energy, and your own ability to own the moment without hesitation. One of the most important aspects of confidence is not seeking approval. A confident woman does not need to be liked by everyone, and she does not base her self-worth on how much attention she gets. She understands that she is the prize, that her energy alone is valuable, and that not every man needs to be impressed by her. This self-assuredness is intoxicating to high-value men because it creates an air of selectiveness. A woman who knows her worth does not need to convince anyone to see it, she simply carries it. Have you ever noticed that the people who try the hardest to be liked often end up feeling the least respected? That's because confidence is about knowing that you don't have to prove anything. It's about understanding that you already bring value just by being yourself. And when you carry yourself with that level of certainty, people are naturally drawn to you. So, what does confidence in flirting look like in real life? It looks like walking into a conversation with an open, relaxed energy instead of feeling the need to perform. It looks like enjoying yourself, laughing naturally, and not overanalyzing every move. It looks like not being afraid of silence, not feeling the need to fill every moment with words, and letting the conversation flow rather than trying to force it. It looks like being playful, teasing in a way that feels effortless, and knowing that you don't have to try too hard to make an impact. Confidence is not about perfection, it's about trusting that you are enough, that you don't need to be anything other than fully yourself. And in the end, flirting is not about getting someone to like you, it's about allowing yourself to be seen, with ease, with certainty, and with the kind of presence that leaves a lasting impression. As the Stoics teach us, true power comes from within. And when you own your confidence, when you step into every interaction with the knowledge that you are already enough, you don't just attract attention, you command it. You made it to the end, and that means you're serious about unlocking your natural magnetism. Drop a comment saying, "I attract effortlessly," to show you're ready to put these flirting tactics into action. More confidence-boosting tips are on the way, don't miss out. 7. Bonus tip: end the interaction on a high note. Flirting isn't just about creating attraction, it's about sustaining it, leaving the kind of impression that lingers long after the moment ends. The way you exit an interaction is just as important as how you enter it, because people tend to remember how they felt when they were with you, and that final moment often defines the entire experience. High-value men, those who are confident, successful, and emotionally mature, are not drawn to women who overstay their welcome or who seem overly eager to please. They are drawn to women who leave at the right moment, with an air of confidence that makes them want more. The Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And this applies perfectly to attraction. You don't need to overstay or overdo it to leave an impact. You just need to carry yourself in a way that naturally sparks curiosity and lets the moment breathe. This is why ending an interaction on a high note is one of the most underrated yet powerful flirting tactics. It creates a sense of unfinished business, a subtle what if that lingers in his mind, making him eager to see you again. Think about the best movies, books, or conversations you've had, the ones that left you thinking, that made you want to revisit them over and over again. They didn't drag on. They ended at the right moment, leaving space for excitement, intrigue, and anticipation. That's exactly what you want to do when flirting with a man. Leave before the energy dips. If a conversation is going well, if the connection is flowing, that's precisely when you should gracefully exit. Instead of waiting until things slow down or awkward silence creeps in, you smile and say, "I've really enjoyed talking to you, but I have to run. Maybe we'll continue this another time." That statement alone does two things. First, it reinforces that you enjoyed the interaction, and second, it plants the idea of another time, giving him something to look forward to. Confidence isn't about proving yourself. It's about trusting that you've already made an impact. A high-value woman doesn't cling to a moment. She creates it and then lets it unfold naturally. This same principle applies when leaving a date. Don't linger too long. If the date has gone well, if there's been laughter, attraction, and shared energy, the worst thing you can do is drag it out to the point where the momentum fades. Think of it like a song. There's a reason the best tracks don't last forever. They end while they're still great, making you want to hit replay. So when you sense that the date has peaked, take charge of the ending. Stand up with a smile, hold his gaze just a second longer than usual and say, "I had a great time tonight, but I should get going." This tells him two things. You value the experience, but you also have a life to return to, a sense of purpose and independence that is far more attractive than desperation or overstaying. When Stoic teaches that attraction is about self-mastery, about being in control of your own energy rather than waiting for someone else to dictate the outcome. Leaving at the right moment creates space, and space is where attraction grows. And in today's world, where so much of our interaction happens over text, this same concept applies. If you're always the last one sending a message, if you always respond instantly, if you never allow a conversation to pause, you remove the natural rhythm that builds anticipation. A confident woman doesn't rush to fill space. She lets it exist. She knows that if a man is truly interested, he will come forward on his own without being chased. High-value men respect women who don't cling to their attention, who aren't afraid to leave some mystery. The moment you stop feeling the need to always have the last word in a conversation is the moment you start commanding more attention effortlessly. Have you ever noticed that when you stop chasing, people lean in? When you stop filling every silence, conversations become more engaging. That's because attraction grows in the unknown, in the anticipation, in the space that allows curiosity to thrive. So, what does all of this mean for you? It means recognizing that attraction isn't just about what happens in the moment. It's about how you leave the moment. It's about understanding that less is often more, and that by exiting gracefully, by not lingering, by allowing a man to miss you just a little, you give him a reason to seek you out again. Confidence is about knowing your worth, and part of that worth is recognizing that you don't need to overstay to make an impact. You don't need to explain, overtext, or wait around for permission to walk away. You simply enjoy the moment, leave on your terms, and trust that what you've created is already enough. And that's the kind of energy that high-value men can't resist. So ask yourself, do you leave moments with confidence, or do you cling to them out of fear they won't happen again? The answer to that question might just be the key to unlocking a new level of attraction in your life. Flirting, like any skill, becomes more natural the more you practice it, and when you embrace confidence, playfulness, and a touch of mystery, you naturally draw people in without effort. The key to attraction isn't about tricks or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about owning your presence, enjoying the moment, and allowing genuine connections to unfold. Whether it's mastering eye contact, using your voice with intention, or knowing when to leave an interaction on a high note, These small changes can have a big impact not just in dating, but in every area of life where connection matters. So, which of these tips are you most excited to try first? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who could use a little extra confidence in their flirting game. Stay bold, stay authentic, and keep building the kind of presence that high-value men can't resist. This is Stoic, and I'll see you in the next one.